Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Friday morning at the residence of Hazrat Wala, Friday, the 25th of Zulhijjah 1444, corresponding with the English date 14th of July 2023. Hazrat Wala is reciting the ayat of the Quran Majid, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna, irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiya, fadkhuli fi ibadi, wadkhuli jannati. So here Allah Ta'ala is addressing the contented soul. O the contented soul, come back, return to your Rabb, well pleased yourself and well pleasing to Him. Fadkhuli fi ibadi wadkhuli jannati. Enter you then amongst my honored servants, and enter you my paradise. So this here is a great wealth. And sometimes when we are happy, and we are happy with the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, actually this is the miracle and the karishma, the barakat of Allah ta'ala's happiness. Now nafs mutma'inna, the contented nafs, this is so great and so wonderful. उसके हुसूल के लिए मशाइख के पास जाया जाता है. And to achieve this type of nafs, the nafs mutma'inna, the contented nafs, this is the reason and the purpose that we attend and we go to the Ahlullah and the Mashaykh. I've heard that some people had went to Sayyid Saheb Bareli rahimahullah in his khidmat, and in that one meeting his spirituality was so tremendous that he took them from which level they were right up to nafs mutma'inna. He was a very great personality. You know, this is the highlight, and this is very famous, that unke wasf unwani jihad hai, that his main characteristic and his feature and his overpowering enthusiasm was that of jihad. Hazrat Wala is saying, मैं कहता हूँ, I am saying, उनके वस्फ़ उन्वानी तज़कियतुन नफ्स. His main feature and salient characteristic was that of purification of the nafs. He was so qawiyut ta'thir, and he had such type of miraculous attention that he would throw on those who would come to his gathering, sending them from one state, lower state, right to the ultimate and the highest state. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself made dua for the same contented nafs and nafs mutma'inna which we are speaking about. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allahumma inni as'aluka nafsan bika mutma'inna. O Allah, I ask you for nafs mutma'inna, for the contented nafs. Tu'minu biliqa'ik, such a nafs that has iman in meeting you. وَتَرْضَى بِقَضَائِك, and it is happy with your decision. وَتَقْنَعُ بِعَطَائِك, and it is satisfied with whatever you allot for it. Now this nafs mutma'inna, it is matlub shar'i, it is maqsood asli, it is something that is desired in the shariat, rather it is our objective, genuine and original objective and goal, nafs mutma'inna. What is this? Kaya, piya, or fir chala gaya. We eat here, we drink there, and that's how we pass our life and we move on. Is it all about that? You know, Ibn Jawzi asks his Ustad, Allama Ibn Taymiyyah, about a mubahat, the usage of those things which are just simply permissible. So he answers in such an amazing fashion and manner. He goes on to say that the mubahat is not mani and najat. It is not something that will prevent you from salvation. However, most definitely, lakin, it will most definitely be a hindrance, an obstacle and a hurdle for you in reaching the ultimate and the highest levels of piety, maqamat aliyah tak पहुंचने के लिए जरूर मानी होगी. So, eating, drinking, no, you will have to make some type of sacrifice. You will have to leave out something. You know, Hazrat Khaja Saheb used to say, ye daulat meri muft ke nahi. This wealth, referring to that treasure in the heart and in the bosom, coming from heart to heart, it did not come free of charge. Main muft mein kyun do? Why should I give it free of charge or just like that? खूने दिल पीने को, लख्ते जिगर खाने को, यही ग़िज़ा मिलती है जाना तेरी दीवाने को. So some type of effort, sacrifice is most definitely required. So here speaking about the nafs mutma'inna, Allah Ta'ala then starts, the author here goes on under the commentary of this particular ayat, speaking about the salient features, the specialities of this particular type of nafs. He goes on to say that the nafs are in three categories. The nafs ammara, the one that is always persuading a person to go in the direction of evil. And the nafs lawwama, the rebuking nafs. And the nafs mutma'inna, the contented nafs. Now here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not address any type of these nufus, neither the ammara nor the lawwama. However, He addresses the nafs mutma'inna. It is so worthy that Allah Ta'ala actually addresses it in the Quran Majid. So Allah Ta'ala says regarding the nafs ammara, just a statement, inna nafsa la ammaratum bisu. It persuades, it convinces, it encourages, it brings a person towards su and evil. And regarding the nafs lawwama, Allah Ta'ala just makes a statement as well. Wala uqsimu bin nafs lawwama. However, when Allah Ta'ala comes to the topic or the subject of the nafs mutma'inna, Allah Ta'ala just doesn't speak about it generally or makes just any statement about it. Rather, Allah Ta'ala addresses it directly by saying, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna. Another thing here also is that this particular nafs has been given a laqab and a title, and this kunyat and this type of a title or a second name or a pet name amongst the Arab is actually tajlilun fil khitab. It's honoring a person while addressing them, wa fakhrun inda dhawil albab. And amongst intelligent people, it is a source and it is a sense of honor. Also, another characteristic here about this particular nafs is that Allah Ta'ala describes it with it being completely peaceful and contented, meaning praising it with it being obedient to Allah and putting its trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another feature and characteristic of this particular nafs is that it is sifatuhu lihadihi nafs bittuma'nina. It is described with complete peace and a contentedness. And what is this mutma'in? Let's just go deeply into it. The author goes on further. What is nafs mutma'inna? Al-munhafidu min al-ard, a low-lying land. فَلَمَّا انْخَفَضَتْ بِتَوَاضُعِهَا وَإِنْكِسَارِهَا, when it humbles itself so much, it makes itself like a low-lying land, and land and earth is something which is trampled upon. It does all of this here because it humbles itself, it annihilates itself, it does self-effacement in kisariha, breaks itself completely in front of the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When this happens, then Mawla, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then expresses praise and loftiness with regard to this particular nafs. And this is exactly what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam teaches us in the hadith when he says, Man tawada'a lillahi rafa'ahu Allah. When a person humbles himself for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevates him. So here we're speaking about humbling oneself. You know, Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb, he used to say, Jisne mitaya apna namo nisha, haft iqleem ka bana sultan. That person who humbled himself completely and totally, he hid himself. If there were any traces or things that could speak about himself, they even removed that. That person who humbled himself to that extent, then Allah Ta'ala gave him the highest stages, haft iqleem ka bana sultan. And Hazrat Haji Saheb said it in these type of words, that Hum apna namo nisha mita beta, that I sat here hidden, erasing, self-effacement, hiding myself completely and totally. Shohra uradiya mera kisne. I just wonder so, who went around spreading fame about me? Now these were these great giants, and this was actually their spiritual state, and their heart was full of these salient features, characteristics, and these beautiful qualities. You know, they did not have to go here and there and the other to relax their mind and to enjoy this or that or the other. Rather, was'at dil ke kiya karte hai ser e imdad, yahi baag apna, yahi maida apna, that, O imdad, it is in the vastness of our heart that we go around walking and strolling and enjoying ourselves. We don't have to go and see this scenery or that scenery or this or that or the other, but the heart is filled with so much of these great treasures that they take a stroll down in the alleys of their hearts, and yahi baag apna, this is their garden, this is their maidan, where they enjoy and they are so much at peace. You know, aane ka bhi yahi maqsad hai. People come and go. This is the actual objective, so that one can achieve nafs mutma'inna. That a person has tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He lowers himself completely and totally, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevates him and blesses him with the nafs mutma'inna. Hazrat Maulana Yaqub Saheb used to speak, and he used to say about this example. He would say, many reach the court of the king. Even the thug and the thief reaches there. However, usko jutiya kana parta hai. He will have to taste that shoes flying on his head. He will be insulted and disgraced in the court when he is spotted. And then he will be humiliated there in that court. But he also reached the court. And what about those VIPs and the mehmans and the guests that come? They also reach the court. But they are honored with in'am and ikram. They are honored tremendously and they are rewarded as well. It is for this reason that Hazrat Tanvi used to also say that one is to reach qurb, to gain the proximity and the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the other one is to reach and gain the proximity and to enter the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not just like that, but rather with qubuliyat. One is qurb and the other one is qubuliyat. Saheb Tarsil Jawahir al-Makkiyah doesn't even speak about 3 types of nafs. Rather, he even takes it further. He lists many other types of nafs, the radiya, the mardiya, etc. Hazrat Wala is speaking on one of his trips to Europe. He says, when I came, and in the airport you go to this counter, and from there you go here, and there you clear off at customs, and then you get this stamped at that counter, and it goes on like that. And he says that they are great people and prominent people also. What happens to them? They go and they even start fearing and they even start becoming restless when they reach certain counters. Not because they got anything against them, that perhaps they may be just sent back. At that time I was there, neither Abdullah was with me nor Maqbool. And then they looked at me. I don't know what they must have been thinking, this Hindustani man or this person here from India, and then they saying amongst themselves, Jane do. Na kuch pucha, na kuch dekha. They didn't ask anything, they didn't look at anything. They just let me through just like that. I can't tell you how happy and how pleased I was with that, because that's one marhala and you passed it and you went through. Now if this is the case here in this dunya, then what would be the case there in the akhirat when interrogation starts? When you have to go to this counter first and that counter, and you would have to stop there where the malaika stop you, and then you would have to stop at another stop and then at a further stop as well. But how much of happiness will come to the person where they don't look at him, they don't ask about him, they just let him loose scot-free. Go. There's nothing to ask, there's nothing to give, there's no interrogation, there's no questions on you. Move it up. On you go. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna. Kya umda jumla. What a wonderful and terrific sentence Hazrat Wala is saying. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna. Oh, the contented soul. Irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. Irji'i, return, come back to your Rabb, well pleased yourself and well pleasing to him. Now here there is ishara and there is a sign that the nafs ammara and the nafs lawama will not be able to return to Allah a return of honor. Here, in this year, we learn radiyatan mardiyah, that you are pleased with Allah and He is pleased with you. This is a return filled with karamat and with honor, and this is only for the nafs mutma'inna. And why does this come its way? Because it has so much of contentment and peace with it. It will be said to this nafs that return to your Rabb. We have made legal and legitimate and permissible for you entry and admission into our presence, rather permanence and eternity in our gardens. And in all of this here, there is a tahreed, there is encouragement for the servant actually to achieve this high station of tuma'nina, of nafs mutma'inna, the contented soul. And no person reaches this particular level except or until or unless he does not submit himself completely and totally and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completely and totally, meaning he hands himself over to Allah completely and totally. He abandons all tadbir and putting together from his side his plans, etc., this way or that way. He hands himself over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, on one occasion, Hazrat Wala is speaking that I went with Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb and we went to the doctors. Nevertheless, there were so many other professionals, doctors, professors, etc. What can I tell you about that? They all start standing in honoring Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb. Nevertheless, we finish up there and we come home. But the minute when we come home, what did he have to say? He just says it like this, so simply and beautifully. Maulana, saying to our Hazrat Wala, Maulana, हमने तो नाकिस दीन इख्तियार किया, उसकी ये बरकत है. We just chose to practice deen in such an incomplete, in such a weak manner. We have decided to practice on the deen. And this is the barakat that we are seeing. This is the barakat. अगर हम लोग कामिल दीन इख्तियार कर लेते तो क्या होता? And if we had to practice on the deen in totality, completely, fully, can you even imagine? We will not even be able to fathom or imagine how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have given us. This, he would most definitely say, if somebody had to do this or that, or honor him or respect him, this was his impression, that Ya Allah, we have not even practiced on deen completely, but rather in a very weak and incomplete manner. Half, we have practiced on the deen, and this is the honor that you have showed. If we had actually completely practiced on the deen, what we would have achieved and be blessed with here. Another one of these things here was back in the day, the electricity and the power outages would be tremendous. बत्ती चली जाती थी, बिजली चली जाती थी, and for a long time I stayed with many others of the seniors, and all of them would remark something or the other. Hazrat Wala is saying, oh, the lights are gone, or it's so dark, or it's this, or it's that. However, Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb would not utter a single word, not one word. However, the moment the electricity was restored, immediately Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb used to say, यही नूर है, एक बेग आ जाती है, जैसे बिजली आ गई, एक बेग नूर भी आ जाता है दिल में. Just all of a sudden, the noor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enters into the heart of a person. अगर कोई अल्लाह ताला की तरफ लो लगा ले, if somebody turns, bows, hands himself over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that thirst, quest, enthusiasm, then also एक बेग Noor aa jayegi, just all of a sudden, just like that, Noor will start gushing into his heart. So waiting in anticipation, in silence. And this is what a person receives. A person does whatever he has to do. He obeys Allah. He carries out the dhikr of Allah. And he's in anticipation. He's also waiting. And all of a sudden, the noor of Allah, then the floodgates open and it starts pouring down into his heart. जिसने मिटाया अपना नाम और निशा, हफ्त इकलीम का बना सोता. अच्छा शेर है ना? What a wonderful some couplets of Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb. You know, in the start, Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb would not say too many of these ash'ar in front of me. Rather, after the Maghrib, he would say to me, Maulana, you go and do your work. But after some time, when Hazrat Maulana Abrar al-Haq Saheb used to start coming, and he started sitting in the Majlis of the ash'ar, then only Hazrat Maulana Shah was Muhammad Ahmad Saheb used to start saying his ash'ar in front of me. Leave all that. After I wrote a sharah and a commentary on the ash'ar of Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb, then he said to me, Maulana, you have done such a work that now, with confidence, I can present my ash'ar in front of the ulama as well. Now all this effort, all this coming and going, all the sacrifice, ये सब दौड़ धूप, what is it for? इसी निदा सुनने के लिए है, so that we can listen to this wonderful announcement from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This banda abandoned everything. He forsaked everything for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, I was the youngest, Hazrat Wala is saying, but I had to be the intermediary between all those seniors who came to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab. Rather, I was sending their letters, I was doing this, I was passing their messages, etc. And I had a chance to stay with them as well. Nevertheless, this is a great treasure. Allah Ta'ala is daulat se mala mal farma de. Allah Ta'ala bless us with this great treasure. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to make tariq and this path to Allah so easy and simple. He would address the old aged and he would say to them, you say to Allah, oh Allah, I am old, have mercy on my old age. You know, there's two, we always hear about this here, 2 steps. Place your first step and your foot upon your nafs, trample upon it, and your next step will be in Jannah. Your next step you would have reached Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, understand it this way here, that it is only 1 step. Put your foot onto this nafs, trample on it, stop it, deprive it from these base desires and what it's trying to achieve, etc. And then you have already reached. And when we go to the mashayikh also this year, that we are reprimanded, we are scolded, we are chased out, etc., whatever it is all so that we can achieve this nafs mutma'inna. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with these ni'mats, because this coming and this going, sitting here, etc., is all for this ni'mat. Now Allah ta'ala, out of His grace and His mercy, bless us with His pleasure. And when will we get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When we lower and we humble ourselves completely and totally. Now we speak about these talks and articles over and over again. Ye batein hoti rehti hai. We speak about it, we go over it, we revise it. Man arafa nafsahu, arafa rabbahu. The one who recognizes himself, in reality, he has recognized Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you recognize yourself to be weak, you'll recognize Allah to be so strong. Allah ta'ala put great and tremendous benefit in this majlis and in these discourses. And what can I tell you? All this ta'aleem and that, it's not mine. However, here it's just naqal. I'm just passing on to you what I have heard from my seniors and my elders. Allah ta'ala create ruh, reality, genuineness, hakikat usme paida farma de, create hakikat in it. Allah ta'ala make it the means of our admission into Jannah. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.